All right, a great afternoon once again to everyone who has joined us on yet another interesting edition of the program Scoreboard Reloaded, right on 32 FM 94.9, broadcasting live from the big brown roof city of Ibadan. Check the time, it is 28 minutes before the hour 4 on the PM side, and of course we have games set to go down later today across the different centers, starting straight from Italy. Bologna will be up against AC Milan in the Spanish Copa del Rey quarterfinals. Albacete will be up against Barcelona, and in England, in the clash off that's at the London sides, Arsenal will be up against the Chelsea Football Club there in the EFL Cup semi-finals, and in the DFB Pokal Cup also there in Germany, Bayer Leverkusen will be up against the St. Pauli, and in France it is a Reims against the Le Mans, Marseille against the Reims in the Coupe de France. These actions are set to go down later today, where we'll talk about top European club football games, and then we'll talk about the precedents from what happened yesterday between that 𝐃𝐈𝐒 and 𝐿 Warriors, where we have Toby Ajewole set to join us on the show this afternoon to discuss about that punishment and also the reason in which 𝐃𝐈𝐒 failed to definitely come for their game, obey their game, which was scheduled for yesterday against that 𝐿 Warriors. Remember that for 𝐃𝐈𝐒 still stands at the 28th there in the the NPFL standing with 22 points, with the Desert Warriors, that's 𝐿 Warriors, a night on the standing, also with 34 points in at the NPFL standings. So yesterday they failed to show up for their game, and after 15 minutes, the center referee decided to definitely forfeit the match after 15 minutes, and that went in favor of 𝐿 Warriors, as they were awarded 3 points from that encounter yesterday. But in the early hours of today, there were so many letters which definitely popped up telling us that there was a request for change of match date from 𝐃𝐈𝐒, and the letter was dated the 28th of January 2026 and the 31st of January 2026. But the big question now is that timing from 𝐃𝐈𝐒 to drop a letter to the NPFL that's board. Is it enough? Good afternoon, Oluwatobiloba Ajewole.
Yes, good afternoon, Sam. It's good to be with you once again.
All right, Toby, let's start straight from that news coming from the NPFL between 𝐃𝐈𝐒 and 𝐿 Warriors. Yesterday, it was all about the proceeding. Now, what can you make of this decision by the NPFL?
Well, yeah, good afternoon once again to our listeners. The truth is that this is meant to be a professional football league. That's the Nigerian Premier Football League, and how it is run, the administration, and what happens on the field of play. But the fact is that for 𝐃𝐈𝐒 Football Club, even before their eventual promotion and before their eventual participation in the NPFL, there was a whole lot of controversy. Maybe they would be able to participate, to talk about their eligibility, knowing how financially straining participating in the NPFL can be, because they are aside from the Nigerian national league. Against all odds, they have been participating in the league, and so far, prior to yesterday, I think everything has been relatively okay. We saw that game against the Remo Stars. That was, I think that's like a fortnight ago now, where they played out a 1-1 draw in that fixture right here in the city of Ibadan. But to the football on the play, I think if those letters are anything to go by, you would have expected the NPFL maybe should have had a human face. That is one part of it. But on the other part is that this is a professional football league where even before an actual match day, would have seen how things are done, whereby, or for example, a match that would have been played on the 15th of February, for example, you would have known weeks before. That is how the contingency plans for various clubs would have been. But we'd also take a look at what is happening with a club side like Rivers United, knowing how they have close to 3 games that they have not participated in because of their actual participation of the CAF Champions League, and how dismal they have been on the continent. But 3 games they have not played in the NPFL. and that does not mean they have a positive impact in the CAF Champions League. And you look at it, we have this Nigerian style of allowing our club side to maybe give them that extra match day of rest, or give them no disturb. But how far has that translated to the actual quality of game they have been having on the continent? That's a discussion for another day. So I would have expected that human face to have been extended to a club side like 𝐂𝐿 Football Club, but sometimes you also have to look at it. Maybe it's like opening the Pandora's box, that okay, when you give a club and the rest of the 19 clubs now start requesting for changes in fixture time, so we can open a door to some things that we might not be able to control in the future. But by and large, maybe the NFF can come into play here to be an independent arbiter, maybe appeal, talking about 𝐂𝐿 football, show the NPFL, I mean the NFF now. The NFF, I think that the O&D, they call it the O&D, the Offenses and Decisions Committee, maybe they will have to be called into question, and that is also if 𝐂𝐿 would appeal this decision made by the NPFL body.
6 days and 3 days. Those are the time frame from the letters in which they submitted to the NPFL board. That, like I asked also, is that time really enough? But you mentioned that if they were granted that, other club sides that can actually walk over to the committee, to the board, and say they want a change of time as well and the venue in some of their games. But outside that, now let's take a look at the newly promoted boys in the NPFL, where 𝐂𝐿 is one of them, Barra Football Club is one of them, Wiki Tourist one of them, and Warri Wolves. These are the newly promoted sides into the top flight of Nigerian football. And after 24 games, this is how they stand. Warri Wolves, they are 10th with 33 points. Wiki Tourist are 15th with 28 points. Barra Football Club are 13th with 30 points. And 𝐂𝐿 are 28th with 22 points. DOLAPO joins me also on the show, and together we also look at that while Toby is still with us, and we will get his thoughts as regards to the newly promoted boys also in the NPFL. So, at DOLAPO, quickly looking at all of these sides in the NPFL for 𝐂𝐿, when we are talking about them right about now, 5 wins, 7 draws, and 11 defeats in the NPFL. Thus far, getting promotion back into the top flight. Barra Football Club, 7 wins, 9 draws, and 8 defeats. While Wiki Tourist, they have 6 wins, 10 draws, and 8 defeats. And Warri Wolves, 9 wins, 6 draws, and 9 defeats. When you look at the standing, you know the better side. But when you also look at the team, who do you think has been better?
Oh, well, good afternoon, SAMIES. Good afternoon, Toby, and good afternoon to everyone who has joined us on the show this afternoon. Well, for the Nigerian League, when you look at all of these teams and the way they've performed, I can say most of them have actually done more than what I would have expected them to do at the start of the season, because I was really not expecting most of them to be here. When you look at most of these guys, probably I would say 𝐿 have been good. For Barra, 𝐂𝐿, they've not really lived up to the expectation I had for them. Yes, I had maybe little expectations for these two sides, with the way Barra qualified and the way 𝐂𝐿 qualified as well, and then with the way things were being run, especially at Barra. I remember at the start of the season, immediately after they qualified for the NPFL, the chairman there gave the players bike and all of that. So it was since then I looked at the club and I felt like this is not really a seriously run football club, and I really don't see them performing that much. But here they are on the table, understanding in the NPFL. They are currently sitting 13th, and they have been performing well. Go to their last 5 games now. I think they've not lost any of the last 5 games in the NPFL. That is very rare to see in the Nigerian Premier League, where it's mostly you play at home, you win, you go away from home, and the best you can get is a draw. But then for you to have played 5 games and you've not lost any of your last 5 games, I think Barra have been good as well. So I feel I would take those two, Academy and Barra, to be the 2 guys that have done things I really don't have much expectation for them to have done for me this season.
All right, for 𝐂𝐿, it's a 1 win in that's 5 games and 1 draw, 3 defeats. Barra Football Club, 2 wins, 3 draws. Wiki Tourist, they have 1 win, 2 draws, and 2 defeats. While Warri Wolves, 3 wins and 2 defeats. But let's talk about the defending champions of the NPFL, Toby, from champions to survivor mode for Remo Stars after their defeat yesterday to the Ants of Plateau United. 2-1, 26 points from 24 games for the Sky Blue Boys.
Yes, I think the fourth week is still happens to champions of the MPFL has reared its head, and Remo Stars, they are not spared from the troubles of lifting the MPFL title. I remember the days of the Nigerian League where the defunct Ocean Boys of Brass, that's a club that was once in that was once in Bayelsa State. I remember that season where they won it, and the next season they were relegated immediately, and that was the end of Ocean Boys of Brass. So for Remo Stars, I really do not know what is going on, because at this point there are a whole lot of questions that is waiting to be answered, because it's been a while since we have seen Daniel Ogumodede at the touchline, that is in charge of the side. The club has not officially mentioned if he has left. I think some weeks post on social media on Daniel Ogumodede's on social media page, where it almost looked like a farewell message to 𝐂𝐐𝐿, the proprietor of Remo Stars Football Club, and but the club didn't say it was a farewell message. That was just a simple appreciation message to what Shoname has done to Ogumodede over the years. And when you also look at the playing style, what the current the gaffer has been doing so far, the man in the dugout for Remo Stars, has been a total opposite of what he has been doing. I mean, compared to what Ogumodede did when they won their maiden MPFL title. But you also look at the quality of players that they've also brought into the side. They've brought in a whole lot of NNL players that does not have the requisite MPFL experience. So you say they've also brought some foreign players. We send the likes of 𝐒𝐈𝐒 into the side, maybe to bolster their attacks. We have seen Aladam, who has been their goalkeeper in recent years after 𝐃𝐈𝐒 Bankole left the club side. But what has been the quality of these players brought to the club? What have they added? Is it a case of quantity over quality, and that is what it's looking like right now. And if care is not taken, this is serious relegation form. Yesterday at the Samuel Lugbemudia Stadium, they had a player end off, and look at them, they are 18th currently after playing 24 games. They lost that game 2-1, and Bengo Ogumbote getting one over his former club side, because if for those that do not remember, Ogumbote was once in the dugout for the Sky Blue Stars. So I think Remo Stars, if care is not taken, they might be playing in the NNL, but one thing is telling me that at least by the skin of their teeth, they would escape relegation.
I know we would still have this conversation, but Toby, like I mentioned to, I think it was Olorun Toba and DOLAPO on Monday or last week, for the past 4 years, Remo Stars, they've been challenging for the title, and they laid their hands on the title last season. And this season, it is that abysmal performance that we are seeing from them. What could really be wrong? Is it that they've used all their energy, their spirit in the chase for the NPFL title since their promotion back into the top flight, and now they are all tired?
Well, just as I said, I think there's something that happens if you lift the Nigeria Premier Football League. Maybe except if you're a club side like Enyimba or Kano Pillars during the glory day. 2 seasons ago, when the Flying Antelopes Rangers Football Club won the Nigeria Premier Football League under Fidelis Elechukwu, he is incidentally still the head coach of the side. Almost immediately the following season, they struggled at some point, home and away. I even remember at some point even had maximum 3 points on the road at the Cathedral. Then, even irrespective of the issues they had traveling on the road, they had Benga Ogumbote as their head coach as of then. So I think there's this psychological hit that happens with the Nigeria Premier Football League champions moving into the next season. You would also say sometimes the harder part of success is maintaining it. You could achieve success, but you need double the effort to maintain it if you do not want to fall off, because everyone wants to beat the champion. There's that extra motivation that comes with playing against the champion and getting one over them. And I feel that is what has happened. Them not having Ijabo or Benga or Daniel Ogumode, I beg your pardon, Daniel Ogumode, in the dugout for them too, as I think has affected them. The players that won the league that was last season, bulk of them are not with them at the moment, and it takes something close to a miracle to repeat such feat come the next season, knowing with the amount of exits that they had compared to the quality of entries that they currently have.
All right, Toby. Now, talking about the side that defeated the Rebel Stars yesterday, Plateau United under Rebel Stars' former coach, 𝐒𝐈𝐒𝐄 𝐒𝐒. Well, this man unbeaten in 6 games now for Plateau United. Let's take a listen to what he has to say right after their game yesterday against the Remo Stars when they won by 2-1. And when we come back, we definitely switch our focus. And you have to tell me about Ademola Lookman. How excited are you with that move away from Bergamo to Madrid? The word itself, Benga Ogbote.
How elated are you about this result?
I don't know. I think I'm very happy, not because we just won, but because the 3 points assisted the club to move away from the drop or the red line. So this is what we've been struggling, battling to get all through. But finally, all we need to do is to manage it and get it done.
Okay, coach, at the point in time, Remo Stars leveled up the game. What was running through your mind, knowing fully well that you had 1-man advantage and your team has...
All right, Toby, I dare you listen to the words of 𝐒𝐈𝐒 𝐒𝐒, where you also mentioned that they need to keep the momentum going for themselves. Right now, they have 30 points from 24 games played, 9 wins, 3 draws, and 12 defeats. But you ask me, the number of defeats in the NPFL is also worrisome. When you look at all of these sides and the point difference from the bottom side even to the top of the NPFL standing. But that aside, now quickly before I let you go, Toby, how excited are you with that move for Ademola Lookman? It looks like a happy boy once again.
Yes, for Ademola Lookman, it looks like a happy boy. For once, I saw a particular video on the Roji Blancos social media, and I saw Ademola Lookman all smiles, beaming with all smiles. And what you take a look at what has happened in the city of Bergamo when it was on the books of Atalanta within the last 2 seasons, and comparing with him with a very smiling face. I think he himself happy to be in the city of Madrid under the tutelage of Diego Simeone, and I wish him all the best, because after bagging a hat-trick some seasons ago in the UEFA Europa League, you would have expected him to have had a massive upgrade, but rather it was more or less rubbing insult upon injury when he was there in Italy. Wishing him all the best, though a whole lot of Nigerians would have expected to have gone to Turkey, where would have had a significant increase in his wages. But I think staying competitive with Atletico Madrid would do his career a whole lot of good. Knowing that Ademola Lookman is one of those very, very flexible players, is the utility player, and I feel whatever system he finds himself, he would always shine.
Well, all right. Thank you so much, Toby, for joining me on the show this afternoon. Quickly, let's move away from that and talk about the big game set to go down later today there at the Emirates Stadium between Arsenal Football Club and Chelsea Football Club. DOLAPO, Arsenal won the first leg, that's at the Bridge, by 3-2. But later today, what an encounter this would be. Rossinion, 3 wins on a row for him at Chelsea Football Club, and now for Mikel Arteta's Arsenal, who are aiming to be in one finals after so many years.
Well, for Mikel Arteta, I think the last time he got to a final with Arsenal was far back in 2020 in his first season when he defeated Manchester City in the semi-final of the FA Cup. He went on to win that game, defeating Chelsea in the final of the FA Cup that year. Since then, he has not taken Arsenal to any final. But at the moment, he looks like a man who is on the driving seat. They lead 3-2 with the first leg of the game that went out there at Stamford Bridge. And now they'll be playing at home in a place where they have a very good record against Chelsea. Their last 3 games against Chelsea at the Emirates, I've seen them win all with a 9-1 aggregate. So that shows they have the power when they play against Chelsea at the Emirates Stadium. But then you look at what Liam Rosenior has been doing for Chelsea, even though it was not really as convincing as Chelsea fans would have wanted last weekend, but then that was a very good comeback against West Ham United, who were leading 2-0 at halftime of that game. He made changes upon changes, and the changes changed the game totally. They won the game 3-2 coming back from behind. So the momentum is very high for Chelsea at the moment. When a new coach has come in and he has played 7 games or 6 games and he has won 5, the only game he lost was his first game in charge of this side. Since then, he has been winning all of his games. He has won 5 games on a row now with this team. So it looks like a man who is doing wonders at the moment for Chelsea Football Club. For Arsenal Football Club, they've not won any of their last 2 home games. They drew 1 and 1-1. But when you go back to their last 15 games, they've only lost 1 of their last 15 games. And that is quite impressive for a team of that manner, with the level and with the way this team is at the moment. I feel like, even though Arteta might not have taken Arsenal to any final since 2020, or since 2020, I feel like at the moment it looked like a man who would take them to this year's final. Yes, they lost at the same stadium against Newcastle United last season, and this same competition in the semi-final. I think they lost 2-0 at home. That was the first leg of that game. But then this time around looks like a different Arsenal entirely. They have the depth. Even though Mikel Merino is out injured, who is someone who has played in every Carabao Cup game this season, it looks like Arsenal still have the firepower. They have everything it takes to defeat Chelsea. All they need to do today is just to make sure they start the game on a high, because that is what Chelsea would come out to do. Chelsea would want to come and start and get a very early goal, but I think they would be able to do it tonight. All
right, for DOLAPO, he thinks Arsenal, they will get the job done over Chelsea Football Club later tonight. Like I said, for the other games set to go down across at centers, AC Milan, it's also their chance to close the standing with Inter Milan at the top of the Italian Serie A, because you look at the table right now for Inter Milan, they are top with 55 points and AC Milan are second with 47 points. Should they win against Bologna, they'll move on to 50 points. That's 5 points behind Inter Milan. And then Albacete against Barcelona, and you have the DFB Pokal Cup as well. Bayer Leverkusen against St. Pauli, Reims against the Le Mans. They're in the Coupe de France. Marseille against the Rennes. They're in the Coupe de France still. Thank you so much, everyone who has joined us on today's edition of the show. I've done this alongside DOLAPO and Toby Ajewole. Do enjoy the rest of your day, and bye for now.
FM 94.9, filling the world with laughter.
Heaven made a radio, gave it a soul, and called it.
My heart's a stereo, it beats for you, so listen close.
32 FM 94.9, filling the world